Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud. And this is Champs versus Stars, episode 3, Slamballs and Elbow Brawls. Cool, fun mission, I would say. And then, there's like goddamn elbow being thrown and stuff like that. But to sum up the episode, it's really about the losses. We're gonna lose To. God damn it. We're gonna lose Ashley Mitchell. We're not gonna completely lose Riff Raff. I feel like he's just gonna come back. He's just skipping out on the elimination because he's like, God damn it, that should be me in there and stuff like that. I'm not being heard and shit. So I think he's gonna come back. But there's just a huge sense of loss throughout this entire season. I mean, we lost Camilla in episode 1, right? And then someone else. Oh shit, Jenna. Yeah, Jenna actually leaves this episode. Why didn't I include her too? Yeah, it's just I don't know how to feel about it. It's definitely it feels like a shit show, you know. Um, but what are you expecting? I mean, like all these celebrities who are like, I am beyond this. I'm going to take off, or all these people that are just like dealing with personal shit. And by personal shit, I guess it's the champ women so far. Yeah, they're just taking a beating. This is what did Emily say in episode 1? Bad juju or some shit like that. But I don't know. I'm gonna try and get through this episode as quick as possible because I hate recording alone. So I'm just gonna fucking broad stroke this motherfucker. Let's talk about the To versus CT controversial fight or argument. It should be called an argument, but um, I say, well, it was divisive. This argument, it was like who was in the wrong. It was interesting to see everybody's take on it, and I'm like, I didn't really consider who was in the wrong because no one was in the right. I mean, like what did Banana say? There was disrespect all around, and I couldn't have agreed more. Because I feel CT wanted to get in a fight. He just didn't realize it was going to be right when he showed a little bit of human emotion by saying like, "Hey, what's going on with our women here?" That's when To decided to strike, and he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker! You've been poking the bear, the sleeping bear. You've been wanting to summon the dragon. Now here he is." And to me, it was entertaining as all hell. Like I liked the idea of these two guys arguing. But when it's all said and done, I think what did To say? He was like, there was no discussion of family members really. Like he said, I didn't hear. I don't think Ashley Mitchell actually came out and said, "Listen, we're gonna have to pull the plug possibly on my father" and stuff like that. I think there was family member shit mentioned because Romeo asked. Um, so that I really don't think To knew the full extent of what was going on. He just knew that this was the time to fucking jump in and do what he had to do. And CT's reasoning, what did he say? He's like, I don't like it when people act like they're better than me, or just anyone. It drives me insane. So I had to torture him. And I was like, that is a chilling confessional right there. I had to torture him because what CT does say cuts to the core of To. I'm sure in some way. Maybe he's like, oh, well, you didn't offend my family. Then it would have been over. But you talked about my financial decisions over my career and shit. But at the same time, To's like, yeah, I had $70 million and I've lived a life, this full fucking life, and here I am trying to do this shit for charity. But all these guys are trying to bring out the asshole in me, and when I do come out, then they hit me really fucking hard, and you're like, what the? This is beyond. Like I'm beyond this is what he's saying. I'm sure in his heart of hearts, Tio's like, no, I don't need this. But I am glad that he signed on at all. That has to mean that he was a fan of the challenge. Like, why would you sign on, like not knowing anything? Like, I would be like, what is the Bachelor pad? Is that a thing still? I think that's canceled actually. That was a thing. I watched that once too. It was crazy. Um, what the fuck am I getting at? I was trying to make this really short and sweet. But I do have to take that back. I mean, Tio, he comes back. Ariane volunteers to go in because she's like, "Hey, I didn't get any points at the parkour thing." And then Emily is safe. Jenna is nowhere to be seen, right? And then Mike the Miz, all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, guess what, Emily? You are safe if you choose to be." Now, I don't remember that ever being brought up before. I guess I never read the fine print, or maybe Mike whispered it after he said the rest of the shit, or he said it really quick, like those commercials. Um, or, or what was the? Oh, the other option is you can pick Jenna, who is injured, and I thought they said Jenna is gone. Like they've already said, listen, she is out of this game. So why is she even an option? I think just from production, they were like, listen, we got to come up with this bullshit decision. Hopefully, Emily takes the bait because everyone's going to be like, Emily, please do this, and she does. She gives Jenna the nomination. So then they're like, well, guess what? We don't need to have an elimination at all. So that I was like, ugh, that's kind of lame. I mean, for the sake of a schedule, I'd rather still see women going in. What the shit? But yeah, no women elimination. And then we go to Zach says goodbye to Jenna. And uh, why is this written in the notes? It's not really significant. I just feel like we're kind of force fed this romance, and it's not even, there's nothing hot about it. Like Zach openly admits that he was a fucking asshole to Jenna, and we've seen him be an asshole to ex girlfriends, and he's like mostly what was her name? Joanna? Joanna Man? No. Johanna? No. Oh, what? God damn it. What was it? Battle of the Exes 2. She was treated like absolute garbage by Zach. And then Zach treated other people like fucking shit on Battle of the Seasons. Either way, he's a goddamn asshole. I've never been that much of a fan of his. And then Jenna, who I really do like, and enough where I can admit, like, yeah, she's kind of she's kind of an airhead, very pretty, very talented physically and shit like that. But, she's just kind of like, what? Like kind of dumb blonde. I don't know what else to say. So to have this romance play out just because that's how Jenna interprets it, it's not how I interpret it at all. Like I'm totally kind of I don't care enough to be against it. I'm just like, this is, why did I write this in the notes? I don't even like talking about it now. God damn it. But yeah, Jenna's gonna leave. She's gonna get her fucking foot is fractured. Remember when she first landed on it, the people, they were the people, the medicine people were like, hey, it's just a sprain. Holy fucking shit, it's not. It's a career. It could be a career-ending fucking injury because she's not on season 31 Vendettas. That's crazy because Jenna, she's a star now. She's part of the challenge. So it's fucked up. She's gone. But why make it romantic? I mean, or whatever, Like, why play the soft acoustic guitar? All right, well, let's bypass this shit. Something about bananas and Justina cross-dressing. Gives that fuck. Oh, but that very morning, though, Ashley Mitchell, she's like, hey, guess what? My father's showing improvement. So I'm going to stay and kick butt. Like, I'm ready to, I'm ready to show up and do this thing. So the mission is Slamball. I'm a huge fan of this thing. I think Dave, my fucking I'm already pissed. My ex co-host, no, my co-host who isn't here right now, he was just like, no, this looks stupid. Like trampolines, basketball, like I don't know. Maybe if we had another big outside game, instead we've had two indoor, very cool games in a row. But maybe, I don't know, maybe Dave just doesn't respect a trampoline. I'm sure he watches basketball. He should like that enough, I mean, we were given these giant slam dunks by Zach. I mean, I liked it. I personally enjoyed this very much. especially when it came down to the individual performances. Um, but right before it starts, that's when Mike's like, "Hey, guess what? T.O. left the show." Um, and you know what? Oh my gosh, I felt horrible. I mean, like they're like, "CT, what do you got to say?" And he's like, "Well, it's good to see someone go home, but not like that." Class, class answer. And then Johnny follows it up like, "Wait, what are you saying? That we did something no NFL team has ever done, and that's get rid of T.O.?" Yes, you did, Johnny, because those NFL teams, he was paid way more to stay there with them. And really, like, I'm, I'm sure they didn't fuck it. Like, what is that line uh, in The Watchmen when Rorschach's in prison? And they're like, "Hey, wait," the prisoners are like, "Hey, this asshole put us here. He's some goddamn vigilante. Let's kill him. Let's fuck him up." And then he fucks up the guys that were gonna hit him. Rorschach. He's like, "You're not here. Well, I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me." Uh, and I feel like that's how T.O. was with his NFL teams, and he the it's not the same. It's not even the same level. Like this is low rent. This challenge, make no mistake about it. Like I always wonder why I never just like boast about my challenge to like people I actually know in the real world, because I don't like saying the letters MTV ever. Right away you lose like interest in the conversation. So I try and skirt around it. I'm like, "You ever watch Fear Factor?" And like, "Oh, I hated that fucking show." I'm like, "God damn it. All right, never mind." But no, it really is not okay. It's on MTV, but it's also like it's trashy. A lot of this cast. Fuck, the poster boy of the show is Johnny Bananas, and he's horrible. He's a fucking asshole. So I'm in no mood to like jump and say like, "Oh, you guys gotta watch this amazing show." I mean, it is kind of bullshitty a lot of the times. Anyways, Tio leaves the show. It's not. I don't feel like he is a quitter, like a full on like, "Oh, he couldn't handle it." He just simply said, "Fuck this," Like, I mean, sure, he might have spent $70 million, but that doesn't mean he's fucking broke and he absolutely needs the cash. I mean, I don't know. I feel really weird about the whole thing because T.O. had to have been the biggest celebrity, the for real star. This show was called Champs versus Pros in its first season, and he would have been a pro. He belongs on that team. So it just sucks. It really does. I'm like, I wanted to see him perform more and this and that. So huge loss. But starting into the slam ball thing, the theme of the week or the day is tenacity. There's no tackling or holding. They're just bouncing around and shit. But tell that to Michelle Watterson. It doesn't matter to her. She don't give a fuck. It was great. What's this first round? Riff Raff, Sean and Kim, Glass versus Bananas, Emily and Zach. I just remember Emily got a point. Bananas got 2 points. Zach got 4 points. He led the charge. He was awesome. Riff Raff, he actually scored 3 of the points for his team. Who else got another one? I don't remember what it was, but it might have been Kim. Actually, that makes sense. She's so tall and like slender and shit. But yeah, the fucking champs won 7-4. Next is an amazing round because it's Michelle Watterson, Justina, and Matt versus Anissa, CT, and Wes. What it should be just Michelle versus CT because she's oh my god, she's like tackling. She's taking people's back, like latching on to these total wrestling moves. In her defense, like when she's trying to block a shot, she like jumps up and does the splits. Like it was adorable. It was sexy. It was awe-inspiring. Everything about it, I loved. And CT afterwards, even though they won, it was like what was it, 3-1. He's like, I'm gonna remember you tomorrow morning, because he's like, I'm gonna be fucking sore as shit. And it was amazing. CT got the most points. I think two of those. He got 2 points for the team on that one, and then but Michelle got the most penalties, which I thought was hilarious. Okay, and the next, finally, I think, is Romeo, Josh, and Ariane versus CT, Zach, and Ashley Mitchell. This was the controversial shit right here. Zach elbowing Romeo. Romeo like fucking falling backwards. He's all just like, whoa, this is going on here and shit. He like even afterwards, like the champs win 2-1. Zach gets those two again. Like Zach is just really, really good, gifted athletically in this fucking season so far. Let's see. Oh, but the best part, the craziest part, was immediately afterwards where Romeo is demanding a video replay. He's like, let's fucking check the tape. I want to see if that shit was intentional. He has his posse come down. He's got this fucking bodyguard there ready to fucking snap Zach in half, because he says like, if you try to hurt him, I'm gonna hurt you. And it was such a real fucking moment. You got to realize like, holy shit, Romeo, like he's from fucking the Master P, the dynasty. Like he's fucking hip hop royalty, and fuck yeah, he's got these goddamn bodyguards around, ready to fucking kill anyone. It doesn't matter. And Zach, he's sitting there. He's like, it wasn't intentional. It was, I don't even remember an elbow. But it's really up to Wes. He's coming up there. He's like, listen, I'm pretty sure it was not intentional. You respect me, right, Romeo? And he's like, yeah, I do. They rewatch the tape. They play it back, and I think that Romeo is convinced by Wes that it was not intentional. Was I saying it wrong the entire time? But I honestly felt like, what is he doing throwing an elbow right there? That looked like more of a reaction. Like Zach was, because CT was standing with the ball above his head. CT never made a motion to toss it. Nothing like that. But Zach took off as if he was reacting to a hit. He throws his arm back, elbows Romeo in the head, and Zach goes back to the same position, and then CT throws something. And that's when everybody moves. But really, there was no reason for Zach to move at all. He was not reacting to anything, So I feel like you could totally kind of sneak shit in like that. I think I made that comparison in the previous episode to Dave, where I was like, remember there was this guy who, quote unquote, accidentally walked backwards and stepped on Aaron Rodgers' arm when he was on the ground. It was like some dude, Sahua or Sue or something like that. But he's known for playing dirty, but he makes it look completely accidental every time. But after a while, you're like, there's no fucking way this is accidental. This guy's a fucking prick. Either way, parts of me felt that Zach totally did some dirty work. And he's like, you get it? Because, the show is called Dirty 30. No, Zach, this is not Dirty 30. And no more mentioning of the word dirty anymore. That was so overplayed last season. God damn. What else? MVP, Zach, he gets it for the second time. $5,000 for Wigs for Kids in Michigan. So yeah, he's actually doing really well in this particular season, which is fine. I don't like him personally, but he's still gifted athletically. The champs win again. It's kind of shitty that the Stars just can't get anything going. You want this thing to be competitive, What else do I got written down here? 2 hours later. I want to do that in the SpongeBob voice. You ever watch SpongeBob? The French guy's like, 2 hours later. But that is not, no, that wouldn't be appropriate because what actually happens after 2 hours later? I'm so sorry. Ashley Mitchell is bawling over like her father's condition has worsened. She's like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. She's like, I have to leave. They're saying like, come here quick and be with him in his possible final hours. Who knows, So she leaves for the second time. I don't know why I'm laughing. This is awful. I'm just an awful person sometimes. But she has left before. Remember, she quit Dirty 30 is what I'm getting at. She quit like the first episode because her clothes weren't there. I realize this is totally more important than that. But it is interesting. I'm trying to take a step back and say, listen, this woman, who's very engaging as a person and as an athlete, she continues to leave. Even seasons that she kept on, that she stayed on, she threatened to leave. She's just very, oh man, like she's almost as bad as like T.O. and who else is Riff Raff? Like and Romeo, where they're like, hey man, like I'm gonna throw a fucking celebrity fit right here. Like we're in L.A. This is how I behave all the time with the shit. But again, this is Ashley. This is a very serious thing. Ashley Mitchell leaves. I don't know what I'm getting at. Let's just fucking drop it. Let's get into deliberation, where Riff Raff volunteers again. And he's going to get shut down again. He's going to smile. He's going to be like, yo, what the fuck? Like he's going to get laughs. But he is for real about this. He's like, I want to go in. Every time Matt goes in, every time Romeo, when he goes in, they're going to say like, well, this is why I want to do this. Like, I want to prove myself. And Riff Raff is like making a face like, bitch, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I want the camera time. Like Matt wanted the camera time, like he's just not being heard. And if he is heard, they think he's making a joke because he's almost too nice. Maybe he's just too goofy looking. I don't know. But I'm totally like, I can sense that Riff Raff truly is getting pissed. He's like, what the shit? So when, what was it? Romeo, he's going to get the vote, right? But he brings up that there's no elbows allowed in any sport, which is totally true. You just don't throw your elbows at all. Like it's ridiculous. So I don't know. Maybe Romeo should have had his bodyguard do some bodyguard shit. But instead, he's like, you know what? I just want to go in. I just want to release some pent up rage. And that's exactly what Riff Raff wants, but he's going to be denied again. So now it's going to be deliberation with, what was it? Oh, the champs. And this was pretty interesting, actually. Zach, he's like, I'm going to ask what everyone's opinion is. And then they ask him, like, what would he do or whatever. And he's like, you know what? Honestly, I wasn't going to say Wes's name. I want to win a final, And that's when things just kind of became a little uneasy, because now CT and Bananas are like, well, shit, man. Like, it'd be us, wouldn't it? Like, if he wants to win, he'd probably rather go against Wes than CT or Bananas. I would, Wes is still pretty dangerous in a final, though, is the thing. Not like maybe CT and Bananas edge him out slightly, but I don't even know if I'd agree with that. Either way, Wes diffuses the tension in the room by saying, guess what? I'm going to do what I did last season, Champs versus Pros, and volunteered to go in. And Zach is like, shut up. No, you're not. And Wes is like, no, I will. When it comes to the nominations, Wes is like, I'm bored. I want to see some action. And Riff Raff is like, me too. God damn it. Like I love Riff Raff. He's great. Romeo gets, the nomination. So now these two dudes who have actually, found each other. What was it? They're like friends. I don't know. This listener on YouTube, he was like, "That was gay." I was like, "Well, even if it was, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really care." But now these two possible gay dudes are gonna go against each other. But that's why you lie that foundation in the previous episode. They're like, well, it didn't even go anywhere. Like one guy's shirt was off, and the other guy was like coy about it. But like they're like, oh, where are the women and stuff? And then they're like, well, see you later. Well, it's because to build the fact that these two friends now, you had to show some sort of friendship, some sort of discussion with those two, and to see that now they have to face each other. This is goddamn Jenna and Kayla all over again. They're fucking besties. But you know what? Riff Raff, he takes off. He's not going to show up for the elimination, man. He's at a pool party or some shit. He's like, man, I'm not gonna watch that. And they ask him why, and he's like, it's gonna be to be continued. Fuck that. We're not even gonna be able to watch it that night. He, of course, is being very meta because that's exactly what happens here. Like Romeo and Wes are gonna be hung upside down, and they have to like pull each other and press some button, but all we see is the setup. They're upside down, Yeah, and there's it's just it cuts to black. There's not even to be continued is the thing. Like that's always kind of bothered me, but I want to wrap up this motherfucking podcast right now. There was one funny line though at the very end. If that's what saves an episode for you, well here it is. Where they're like, well, where's Riff Raff? And they're like, oh, well, we're family, and he should be here and stuff like that. And there's all this talk about family, and Romeo's like, there's a Rob Kardashian in every family, and I was like, it's funny enough, and you guys live in LA, so they probably know that for sure. They're not just fans of the show; they probably have hung out with Rob. Yeah. Jeez. You know what? I take it back. I don't ever want to bring up the Kardashians ever because it just it deflated me entirely. But yeah, you know what? To be continued. This is what the show could possibly be. I think Miz at the beginning said this is a 7-episode scenario. But I think the show is actually on for 8 episodes because I feel like from now on, Champs versus Stars might be like Dirty 30. Where it's like all to be continued. They just bleed into the next episode. I don't know how to complain about that or discuss anything anymore. I want to shut this down. Like, subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.